I'd buy that for $1.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever the case may be. Welcome to Art of the Hero with my guest Miller. Today, the return of Capn Cummings. How you doing, Phil?
Oh, I'm doing wonderful. Read some history, worked out. Now I'm on the Mike Miller Show.
It's the Mike Miller Show. So, boy, I haven't talked to you for a year and a half, and I think that was like the one time I talked to you. So what have you been doing for the last 18 months?
Well, I came back from deployment. I enrolled in school. I really quickly figured out that I didn't have time to do YouTube and really concentrate on school. So I've been doing that. I almost got a history degree. And then I'm going to figure out what I want to do from there. I might take the LSAT, study for that, take that. Also, I might start taking a coding class that I know of for blockchain, but we can talk about that in a little bit. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff you can, there's a lot of stuff I've been doing and a lot of stuff I plan on doing in the future anyways.
Yeah, you just like abandon a 20,000 person or 20,000 sub channel. You don't seem to think that's a big deal. I read you say that. I'm like, I want 20,000 subs. So yeah, nothing. Don't care. Huh?
No, I mean, it was fun. It's like an achievement or something, but
yeah.
I like what I'm doing and where I'm going from there. And if I think really, if I was to do more videos, I would have to change. I would have to start a new channel anyways, because maybe I'm conspiracy here, but I feel like my channel has been like thwarted just based off like commenting. It seems like I'll have like a clever comment and then like you'll go back to that video and your comment doesn't get like any likes. I'm like, or whenever I was originally making videos, every single video that I made had to be approved. Like I was on some sort of list or something.
Really?
So like it wasn't hard for me to make a decision to stop making videos, because at that point, like any video that I made, 3/4 of the views didn't like matter for anything anyways.
That's interesting. Yeah, I never had I don't think I've ever had to deal with that. Yeah, I guess you were blacklisted, dude.
Blacklisted. Well, and the funny thing is when I first started, my channel was taking off and I was kind of doing, cringe, edgy comedy. And then like the next week, my channel was growing at like 900%. And then the next week, the PewDiePie like apocalypse thing happened. And I think that like internally crippled my channel. So, it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because I dipped my foot into YouTube and then you were out. And I was like, oh, well, I'd heard good things about you, but then you were gone and oh well. So programming, yeah, my dad was a programmer. That's probably a wise move career wise to go into what is essentially the future. It's the present. Yeah, it is. I mean
it's something worth looking at, and there's plenty of places where you can get into it, and it's it's like you said, it's the future. So like, why not? You sit around.
Yeah,
it's not hard. It's not. I used to do construction, and constructions. I was an electrician, so one of the easier trades, but
dude, that scares
physical
the hell out of me.
but
Electricity scares the hell out of me because I played with it too much as a kid. Like almost burned my house down. Yeah, so No, it's funny because I was watching just on Twitter. There was this little video of I can't remember who it was. Oh, Laura Ingraham talking to Trump, and she's like berating him for wanting to bring in all these tech companies, but wanting to give those jobs to foreigners who were educated in America. And she's like, well, it's supposed to be about jobs for America. And he's like, we don't have enough Americans. And it's true because not enough people go into the programming field. So I think
nobody's learning about it. And I can say right now, like, I don't know where I live. And I live in the, bumfuck. There's like nothing you could just go to like your local blank and go learn about it,
Right. You have to go online.
Because my kid was interested in one time, and it was like, there's nothing. Like, so it's there's an internet one that I'm going to check out, and it's like, he at least has like a rating through. It's the Ivan on Tech YouTube channel. I haven't really looked into his ratings yet because I'm not going to jump into it right now. I still got, a whole semester left of school. But, if it's $20, you can go and take a look at the course and see if it's something that you even want to do, It's $20.
Right. Yeah, by the way, no swearing on my channel, if you would, please.
All right. Sorry.
Thank you. Yeah, Jay Fairclough says, no swearing, Cummings. I feel lost not trolling you. People miss you. People miss you, man.
Yeah, I mean, it feels good to be loved, but it's like I got a lot to do,
But it's so much more exciting to be hated. So let's see. Anything else going on in your world that we should get updated on?
I mean, I could talk about my classes, I guess. I did a great class on the 1970s last semester. Oh my! It was like everything from like Nixon to Jimmy Carter.
Recent, yeah.
Yeah, that was really good, and it was just like what we would read all these books, and then every week, watch like a movie. And the 1970s have like some of the best movies. So that was really great. And
Meatballs.
Right now, I'm taking like
Meatballs, man. 1979. It's classic.
I watched what was it? I did a project on like hip hop or whatever, and I watched like Dolomite. I solely watched Dolomite so I could watch the Eddie Murphy movie, that just came out as well. So that was really fun. And during this break, I've taken a 4-week class just to get a semester or a class out of the way, Native American history, and that's pretty good reading, I guess. It's kind of depressing, but
yeah. So was there any particular, I mean, you're a history major, was there any particular areas that you were focused on, or was it just
that your degree program is structured into 4 and 6, so you have to take like 4 either Western or non-Western, and then 6 either Western or non-Western, and you kind of structure, so you're getting kind of a plethora of everything, except like most of everything seems to structure around like the 1800s to like current day. So you're always like,
because we have,
I took an African class, and it, largely focused on the transatlantic slave trade. I took a Latin American class, and it focused on the transatlantic slave trade. And, it's a reoccurring nightmare. I don't know how you would.
So did you go to more of a? I mean, most colleges are pretty leftist at this point. How did yours fare?
Oh, I mean, it's completely leftist.
Okay,
but
so were they focusing more on all the bad stuff America did in that trade? Or did they
Actually,
mention
my
that? Did they
African
mention that?
teacher, he's from Kenya, um, and he's got his own perspective that's different than I think like an American leftist would say. Um, like he's pretty neutral, I would say, in terms of like politics like that. He even explained to people like there's people in Africa. He didn't like the word tribe, but there's people in Africa that are naming their kids Donald Trump right now because they're focused on what America's doing, and he's a famous person. They kind of tell history through their people or whatever. It's like that's really interesting.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, it's just funny because it took me my own personal research, even though I took history in high school and in junior college, and I'm 48 years old. It just took me my own research to discover that only 6% of the African slave trade slaves ended up in America. 94% of them went to the Caribbean and South America.
And mostly Brazil, because in Brazil, they didn't have hereditary slavery. So once your kids weren't born into slavery, supposedly, this is what I've read. And so they had to keep importing people. While in America, we had hereditary slavery, so we didn't import as many slaves.
That's interesting. I never knew about that about Brazil, but yeah, I just always found that was interesting. It was only 6%. And I think the total,
but it's like the largest. They make it out like it's like America was.
It was all us. But I'm trying to remember the exact number. It was a relatively very small number of Africans who actually ended up in America, and then from that small number, something like
it's like it's estimated between like 10 to 20 million and like 650,000 slaves crossed the Atlantic into the United States.
Yeah, it wasn't that much, I remember. But then you think about it, it's weird, like probably 80% or more of modern, probably closer to 90% of modern African Americans are descended from that small number. And that's, I don't know. It's interesting. It's all interesting. I love history.
Well,
I love history. If I was
in
school and I was an artist, that's probably where I would have ended up.
We focus in so much on like, those transgressions there. And yet there's still slavery going on and in Africa by the Chinese, so these are all, and, there's, who is that woman, that one rapper that wanted to go to Nigeria because it's so much safer there. It's like, you guys don't know like Boko Haram, and they're like this Islamic group that's killing Christians. I mean, come on.
Yeah, the American left isn't that bright. That's why they're on the left. Oh, that's not fair. There are some intelligent people on the left. I just don't understand. I think they've been educated beyond their intelligence. Let's see. A Fuzzy Creature says Cardi B, and she gave up on that. Now she's running for Congress. And
running for Congress, she'll probably win.
Oh, what did Bean say? Hold on a second. Let me scroll up here. Gotham Knight. What? I don't get it. Anyways, boy, let's get into the meat of why you are here, Phil. What's going on with Bitcoin?
I mean, it's we've had a drought for like 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
It went down to like what, 68 or 7 or something like that. $100.
Yep.
And it's been rallying for the last 2 weeks, ever since the new year, basically.
It's it's been. Let me see if I can pull up. I've got all this stuff up on my screen. Yeah, let's go here. Share screen. This is currently Bitcoin is at, this is on Coinbase. So Coinmarket probably has a different 87.47. Hold on. Refresh that. 87.81 on CoinMarket right now. 87. It's close enough. Close enough for government work. But yeah, the whole top 50 is up 10.71% just in the last 24 hours.
Look at Bitcoin SV. It's just, I would be selling that right now.
Yeah, what in the hell is that?
Satoshi's Vision or whatever.
Come on. Is that? That's not Roger Ver, is it? That's Bitcoin Cash. Was that whose fork was this?
It was the second one, not Bitcoin Cash, but SV. It says right here, Bitcoin SV is a fork of Bitcoin Cash.
Oh, okay.
So literally, it was like in December, it was $80.
Oh my gosh!
And in the last week, it's basically shot up.
Well, it's crazy. I'm watching it. All the altcoins are going up with Bitcoin. Usually, they're like, Bitcoin leads and then altcoins follow, and it seems like they're all just kind of going up at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Think there's going to be a separate altcoin season this time around, or I think a lot of people, myself included, are a little gun shy on a lot of the altcoins.
There's one right now called Spectrum Cash that's up 1,000%.
Here, let's go see what the top Bitcoin SV 93, 1,000% over what time period?
It looks like today.
Really? It's not on CoinMarketCap. What are you looking on?
Oh, I'm on Coinbase.
Oh.
It basically had no.
Holy.
It was like 0 cents, and now it's. Yeah. I mean, nobody's using it, but.
24-hour volume, $336. Oh.
It's just funny.
That can't be right.
It probably is. One person got into it.
Yeah.
Anyways, just anybody that might be clueless right now, maybe we should explain, the basics of what blockchain is, what Bitcoin is, and cryptocurrencies are.
A little primer on blockchain and Bitcoin and why this.
And the thing I would say is we're basically just fools putting our money into something. So don't take our anything we say. Take everything we say with a grain of salt. It's not investing. We don't have we don't have any credentials for
that is right.
That sort of thing.
That is right. So, you wanna do the primer on Bitcoin?
Yeah, so I guess so. Basically, Bitcoin's like 10 years old. It was created by an unknown figure or group of figures that basically did it because of the 2008 crash, if my understanding is correct.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, there's a certain amount that is released on a timely basis, and miners get these coins and they put them into the market. Essentially, there's a limited amount, and that's basically how the market works. Is people sell, buy, use this limited service as a commodity, just like if it was gold or some sort of tenor, like an American dollar, except this one's decentralized in the opposite way that the American dollar is. I don't know if that makes any sense or if I explained it correctly, but
no, it does. So in all the world currencies today, because none of them are backed by gold or anything tangible other than the faith and military might of any given country at this point.
Well, and America, it is basically our massive economy and the petrodollar. So everybody has to buy oil with our dollar.
Not anymore. Russia and China are abandoning the dollar for the yuan, I believe.
I'm sure they are. but
which is
when you have things like this going, when you have things like blockchain and other options coming in, things are going to get a little hairy. It's how capitalism works, basically.
yeah, and Trump now talking about how great negative interest rates are in other countries, and it's like, I don't think that's what we want to do here. It's like, Mecca McCheese was expecting a lot different from the stream. Well, okay. So yeah, basically every currency on Earth is called fiat, and fiat literally means faith. And the reason you can, exchange a piece of paper or ones and zeros on a computer for goods and services is because people have faith that that dollar amount or that yen or whatever has a value that is equivalent across the entire marketscape. Now, dollars, currencies across the world, obviously their value fluctuates against each other, right? So you can literally invest in yen, and literally you're just buying yen and then hoping that the value of the dollar becomes weaker against the yen, and then the value of your yen is greater than the value that you bought it for in American dollars. Well, it's the same thing in Bitcoin, except for Bitcoin is not based upon a centralized government or a centralized Fed, which can manipulate the currency through things like quantitative easing, through interest rates, through that sort of thing, where in the government can actually steal money from you. Say you have $100,000 in the bank, the government can pump an extra billions and billions of dollars into the economy, thereby depleting the actual purchasing value of your dollars, right?
And one thing to note is they've actually been doing this for the last few months. I think it's like, how many trillions? I know it's been billions per quarter or something like that. But they've been, when we've been seeing all these all-time highs on the stock market, realize this is all funded by like billions of printed money.
That's right. That's right. And ultimately what that does, and it's calculated out, is you lose about 2% of the value of your dollar. Your hard-earned dollar it's not just depreciating, it's literally being stolen from you. Your purchasing power is stolen by the Fed every year in a very planned way. So I think between 2 and 3%. So the purchasing value of a dollar when the Fed was instituted is now worth 13 cents because it has been, again, planned depreciation of the value of the dollar over all that time. And that's the Fed just sucking money right out of your, like boiling the frog, right? You stick it in the cold water and eventually you've got frog fricassee because because at some point you're just lunch. But with Bitcoin does add Bitcoin to the pool, but there's only ever going to be 21 million Bitcoin produced. They're produced at a certain rate through cryptological. Gosh, do you want to explain blockchain technology or should I? I mean, it's like I can try to simplify it. Every transaction.
Yeah, I don't know how to simplify it. Really, is the thing,
right.
which is
right.
Which is bad because that means I don't understand it enough to simplify it for people.
Okay, let me.
But basically, it's just a computer program that releases it on a time basis, and there's these people called miners that have equations that claim it, essentially. And there's different types. You have Bitcoin. The three biggest are Bitcoin, XRP, and
Ether.
Ethereum. then you have other ones that are, you get into these kooky things. We were talking about Bitcoin SV earlier. That was actually a hard fork off of Bitcoin Cash, and Bitcoin Cash was this hard fork off of Bitcoin. Essentially, what those mean is they didn't agree with some upgrades that Bitcoin did. So they basically wanted to claim like we're the original Bitcoin, or they're going to be their own project, something along those lines.
You need to explain who is doing this. So in this decentralized system, like I said, with a bank or whatever, you have a central authority over who can command what the dollar does, or whatever the money currency is. With cryptocurrency, with Bitcoin and the blockchain, essentially it is called a decentralized ledger technology, because every computer that volunteers to run the program that maintains the ledger has the entirety of the ledger, what's called the blockchain, in its memory. And there can be thousands, there can be tens of thousands of computers around the world maintaining the blockchain, and it is updated every time a block is filled with data. The whole blockchain is updated. So this is an immutable memory storage of every transaction that has ever happened on the blockchain, and it is everywhere on planet Earth. The only way to get rid of or alter the memory of the blockchain is for a worldwide power outage where every single computer has their memories completely wiped, which is, at that point, we're in the apocalypse anyway, so don't worry about if you got Bitcoin or
Well, and I always think it's really interesting, because I'll talk to my friends about this, and they'll be like, "Oh, but it seems just like fake internet money," and I'm like, "Well, what's your debit card?
Yeah, what's your PayPal?"
like, and the thing is the difference between centralized and decentralized is PayPal can go away just like that. Ask somebody like, not the alt Nazi Richard Spencer, but the guy that does the videos debunking Islam. His PayPal was taken away. Actually, one of the guys at XRP, is that what his name is?
That doesn't sound familiar. But anyways,
his was taken away from PayPal as well.
Interesting.
All off just like somebody that was bad that had the same exact name. It was a complete accident, if you will. And now he's working for XRP, which is like a banking coin. I really like XRP because I think it's going to make me a lot of money. But
look. First of all, hey, Nerdette. Nerdette's here. If XRP fulfills its purpose, literally, it's designed to be worth $10,000 per coin. That's like the programming design of XRP. And if it ever does take over as the banking, essentially the banking fiat of the entire world system, which makes sense because you can transfer it instantaneously for almost nothing, as opposed to any other dollars and cents on the planet. If it does get accepted, yeah, if you have $100 worth of XRP today,
add the zeros, basically.
What is it? 23 cents now. If it's worth $10,000 in 20 years, 30 years, whatever, that'd be a fair. Dude, I used to have so much XRP. I seriously, I think I had like 20,000 XRP at one point.
Well, and you must have got in when it was like a penny or something like that.
No, I got in. It was cheaper. And I had a lot of money in it. But yeah, since I don't know, I've moved most almost everything into Bitcoin. Just because.
Well, and it's the more I would say it's the more stabilized at like a price that's like it's the name essentially.
Yeah, that's right. It's Nike. It's Band-Aid. When people start investing into cryptocurrencies, the very first place they're going to go is Bitcoin. So, but no, there's obviously going to be a lot of room to grow for all the real altcoins. I mean, so many of these are just going to be completely worthless in 5
Well,
years.
because there's like 5,000 projects right now, and most of them don't have like any movement, at all. When nobody's using these coins, like
holy crap, there's 5,000.
Yeah.
Cow, dude, the last time I even looked at that, it was only 2,000.
Yeah, what I think is interesting about that is it just shows you how like there's something we have to be going into something if so many people are starting projects. And I think that right now we're in the whole thing's speculative right now.
Sure.
I think the biggest thing that is going to change is when you get these certain projects, like we talked about XRP a minute ago, that get an actual utility and have a usage that people, want to use it for.
That's right.
That's when it's going to really be. That's when stuff is going to really take off. And the more you get into it, the more you find out about all these different projects. There's one about like blockchain over recording food. So like you got cows, and the blockchain will be used to like explain how good the cows are and all this sort of stuff.
Right,
for people that are like health food freaks.
Chain of information. It's very. I mean, Walmart is actually using the blockchain for exactly that purpose. I can't remember what blockchain they're utilizing, but yeah, there are. I wish I could name them off the top of my head because I used to watch this stuff hours every day, just filling my head with all of it. But yeah, so you guys know, there's one of a bazillion uses of blockchain is that you can have say you have what do you call those things, the little codes you can scan,
The barcode or whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Or are you talking?
Yeah, whatever it is. So you can log it in. So if you're like in Uruguay and you're growing papayas or some crap like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you put your food onto the truck or into the refrigerated truck, you scan it in there, right? The refrigerated truck can be monitored the entire trip. This is all maintained on one blockchain that is designed for the monitoring of the transportation of food. So you can know if at any point in time from Uruguay up to San Diego, if the refrigeration stopped working, or if the guy stopped for a weekend tryst or whatever, it's like all the information is logged into the blockchain. So you can trust that. We've had issues where we've gotten entire truckfuls of food that poisoned people because somehow or another it went bad in transit, right? And it's like this kind of levels of safety can be done on the blockchain very simply. And you just when it gets to port, you just scan it in and you just check, and you can see bing 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 every part of the log of where this stuff came in. And that's just one usage of the blockchain. And it's literally, if you talk to people in tech, it is the future of the internet, the future of commerce. It's the future of technology. And the Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, these are just going to be the coin of the realm the way PayPal is the coin of the realm today,
Mm-hmm.
So
the thing to realize too is Bitcoin did more business than PayPal did, which PayPal is supposed to be, the outlet for the internet, the service for the internet. but Bitcoin's doing more than.
Oh, really? Well, you mean there's just more
It
trade?
did, it did. I think it was 2018 or maybe 2019. I'm not sure. It was a recent. I listen to the news every morning when I'm driving to school about it. I just put my phone up and listen to one of the guys talking about whatever the news is for the day
Mm.
on Bitcoin
Who do you
or
listen to?
crypto in general. Who do I look at? The Modern Investor is the main one because he doesn't like get on all to this like hope that we're all going to be rich tomorrow.
Mhm.
Sort of like a lot of those people are. He just talks about whatever is in the news and gives his biased opinion, but it seems more mellow than everybody else.
Who you might like is Chico Crypto.
Chico, I'll look him up.
Yeah,
Give him a few watches.
he hates shills. He's like, I listen to him, Crypto Lark, Crypto Zombie. But it's funny because
There's literally like thousands of them too.
Yeah.
So it's hard to go through who you actually want to listen to.
Yeah, but Chico Cryptos, he's like, he's fun. He's I don't know. He's a little conspiratorial, but he seems to know what he's talking about. He really digs into some of the crooked crap, right? He freaking hates CZ from Binance.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I can see that.
I mean, everybody hates Roger Ver, which is funny because one of my friends is like his brother's best friends with Roger Ver. Because I'm from San Jose, so like a whole bunch of us are. Everybody.
Yeah, when you're in California.
Yeah, Cali boys. But yeah. Let's see what else. I was in the middle of explaining how the blockchain actually works. So you have the distributed ledger technology. Oh, and so the way that the information is gathered onto the Bitcoin blockchain, at least, because this was the very first and sort of basic. This is why I originally wasn't interested in Bitcoin. I kind of just jumped right into Ethereum because I was, Ethereum's like built for marketplace transactions and built for being built upon, right? So it's like Ethereum is like the mall and Bitcoin is like Bank of America, right? So I was like more interested in investing in the mall than the bank. But so the way Bitcoin blockchain works is that every transaction is encoded. It is basically, it's kind of a backwards math algorithm problem. So like in the very, 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 very beginning of Bitcoin, you could have solved the equations that are given just on a piece of paper, because like it'll give you like the answer to the equation, right? Like say it's 10. And then to unlock and store the information on the blockchain, someone would have to come in and create the correct mathematical equation that'll get you to 10, whether that's 5 times 2 or it's 20 divided by 2 or 5 plus 5 plus 5, whatever it is. You could figure it out and then unlock that equation, and it will store it onto the blockchain. Well, the difficulty of the equation doubles every certain number of blocks. That's called a halvening or a halving. So the production of Bitcoin, because so the miners are the ones doing all of this processing. The miners are paid in Bitcoin for doing the processing. That's why there's so many people around the world doing the mining and running there's a reward for producing the Bitcoin, for running the entire system, and they're getting paid in Bitcoin. As the value of Bitcoin goes up, then the value of their work goes up. But as I said, every certain number of blocks, there's a halving. So it doubles the difficulty of the equation, which halves the production of the Bitcoin.
Which makes it even less deflationary in the same process.
Right. And so the less you have of something being produced, the higher the value of it. If you maintain the same amount of usage, the value increases. So we have a halving coming up in May. Is it May?
I think it is May.
Right. And
because
so,
that's when my birthday was, and I was like, ooh, maybe that's when everything will really, really take off.
right. So people are speculating whether or not the value of the increase or of the increased value due to the decrease of the Bitcoin, supply and demand,
Yeah.
standard markets, you can't get away from it, has already been measured into the current market price or not. So basically, I speculate.
Yeah, I think that's the most real interesting part because I think the price, I think it could go either way. I think we could be, roughly the same price, but then there's people that like think it's going to be 30,000, 40, 80. I've seen crazy stuff like $150,000, like all sorts of just madness. You look at the price that we're at now, which is like, what is that, 8,700, and you think in May it could be like 150. It's like, what?
No,
I can't even like contemplate that. Now,
no.
I would say I don't really believe that. I'd have to see it to believe it, sort of thing. But
No, I think I don't know. I think a lot of people are shy. A lot of retail investors are just gone because they just, the bull bucked them. They just, because it's a very, very volatile market and it's not for the weak of heart. But I believe in it long term, and I think this is money, right? People are like, oh, it's an investment. No, this is money. This is money, and it's going to be money for the future. And so eventually people are like, how high do you think it's going to go? I don't think it's going to end. I think, I don't know how long it'll take in
to get
growth,
where it's
but I
going.
think, the longer it goes, just the more, the more it's worth, because it's going to be used by more people. At some point it'll hit a plateau where there's 4, 5, $6 trillion in Bitcoin, and then there won't be all of this volatility, but it will still maintain growth. And then someday down the road, there will be the next halving, and the next halving, and the next halving, right?
Yeah, and the thing that you were talking about a minute ago, at the beginning when we started, when you think about the American dollar and how it's deflationary at about 2 or 3% per year,
Mm-hmm.
and that's on average. It changes, but 2 or 3% per year. It's the exact opposite with Bitcoin. So I think Bitcoin right now it's at like what 2 or 3%, but every time it halves, that goes down. And so like I'm not sure if it's this halving or the next halving. It'll be like less deflate. It will be the least deflationary coin that is like ever, happened. That's ever existed.
Right. And people worried about hold on a second. I can open this. Open it in a new tab. People worry about it not being real, or it not being, because it's digital. It's like, a dollar is a freaking piece of paper. Right? $100 bill has the exact same intrinsic value as a dollar bill. It's what's printed on that piece of paper that people fight over. Right?
Yeah, it's just basic faith.
Yeah. So here's the halvings, and then it seems like first halving, big spike, and then accumulation. Second halving, big spike, accumulation. So this is speculative here, but yeah, if it continues this graph, and you know what, right here, this graph looks a little bit old, but we just where was it? I can't see. Where's the 6K?
I can't even see that.
Yeah, somehow this graph here, I watched this on another channel. This is a old chart,
It
but the
looks like an
graph is
old one.
maintaining. This entire curve is absolutely maintaining because we just hit this at the 6K mark, and bounced right off of it because it, if somehow we broke below this line, um, this would have completely, I don't know, we might have dropped down to 3,000, which at that point I would have just bought more. But um,
Yeah, every time I see it drop,
yeah,
that's the thing. Like, don't worry about it dropping because there's this concept called dollar cost average, and so the idea is you better your engagement, where you came in at, as you buy low and you sell high is the concept. And so if you buy every time it goes down, or just every week, whatever you want to do, whatever you're quote unquote willing to lose, um, you better your place in it, because when it does go up, well, you bought in when it was low. This is what rich people do with stocks and everything else.
mm-hmm. Yep, dollar cost average. Have you ever read Rich Dad Poor Dad?
I haven't read that one. No,
No,
I'll probably look it up on eBay. And
it's a book on the mentality of rich people and poor people. Robert Kiyosaki had his father was like my dad. He was a workaholic. He thought his house was his biggest investment. He paid that down. He didn't own any stocks. Man, this is a guy who worked at IBM in the 60s. And every time he got stock options, he just used them to pay down his house.
well, that's the thing. That's the thing with my history class, especially in the 70s. That's what the mentality in the 60s was, they weren't really thinking about the stocks because of the 1920s crash, the Great Depression.
Yeah. So, but Kiyosaki's his best friend, his dad was like one of the richest men in Hawaii. And so he asked him to teach him, how he became rich. And so it's this mentality of paying yourself first, whereas instead of paying your bills you pay your bills, obviously, but you're always going to have those bills. And so if you pay yourself first, whether it's 2%, 5%, whatever it is, take that percentage to invest in something that has a long-term reward, right? Like a long-term investment, whether it's Bitcoin, whether it's Amazon stock, whatever it is. If you can put it into something, real estate, obviously he's one of the biggest real estate guys in obviously Hawaii, but that was kind of what kicked me into gear in looking for things like this is where can I put some money so that in the future I'm not just constantly chasing my tail because I never bothered with investing. Because again, my dad, he never man, if he'd have just held on to $1,000 worth of stock from IBM in the 60s, I think I'd have
Well,
been.
and that's the type of thinking that got me in as well. I was like, I was old enough, I was 18 to invest in the .com boom. I was old enough and should have been smart enough to put my money in the Bitcoin when it was pennies. Because I know about it. Like, I think I knew about it when it was like maybe a couple $100 in like 2013 or 14. I'd heard of it, but I was like, oh, that sounds really cool. And I never really did anything about it. And now it's like, it's still unregulated. There's not a lot of regulations in any of the places. There's not mass adoption, so like there's still, a point to get in and, you know, get in before everybody else does.
Yeah, and that's another thing is like because it's decentralized. Like say you get in trouble with the IRS because you didn't pay your taxes, they can't come in and take your Bitcoin, because there's no authority for them to come down on and say like, hey, put a lien on this guy's Bitcoin or whatever, because it's out there in the whole wide world. It's there's no authority. It's not, there's no central, I guess that's bottom line. There's no central authority that can be threatened. You know, it's interesting. All good.
Well, and here's the thing to put it in perspective too. So in like Venezuela, you were just talking about governments. You got like Venezuela, where people are,
oh yeah,
Bitcoin is like spiking there because their money isn't worth anything. You know, you can have a wheelbarrow, and you can't even get any food. You know,
yeah, it's trash on the street. The dollar there is like, it's like we find a penny on the street, we don't even bother picking it up. That's what like $100 bills are there. It's like it's sad. It's really sad. Yeah, I have a friend who escaped Venezuela a couple years ago. So Malin is speaking blasphemy, apparently. Oh, he said cryptocurrency equals the mark of the beast. No, it's not, John.
It's decentralized. How could it be the mark of the beast if it's owned by one person?
Right. Well, out of the mouths of, I don't even know where I'm going with that. He doesn't know anything about Bitcoin except for listening to people complain about it. Let's see. So what else are you into? I know you're into XRP. Are you into any other?
Really just currently into Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP because they're, the top dogs. That's what I currently own. And I'm not going to say how much or anything like that, but those are the three. I like those. They seem like really good projects. If I see any, like there are some other ones that I haven't really looked into, like Cardano, I've heard good things about, but I haven't really done any research on them yet.
Yeah, I used to get
Tezos is an interesting one. Do you know anything about the thing with Tezos and the staking? I don't really understand that concept currently.
No, I hear people talk about it, but I never looked into it. I was looking. I've got Chainlink because I think that's got great useful utility. If multiple. So Chainlink is a token based on a program that kind of unifies all the different cryptocurrencies so that they can quote unquote sort of talk to each other. So you can pay for something in Bitcoin and get Ethereum out of it or whatever it is. So it's kind of like a unity token or coin. But a lot of the ones I like, some people like the privacy tokens. I think Dash.
What's the thing that's weird about those is I don't know if I would want to get into those because I could see governments like outlawing them.
Yeah.
Even though you couldn't then use them, there would be like a weird, how much is it worth sort of thing that I don't understand like how that would work. Yeah, and I don't really want to break the law either.
That's hiding black market stuff, and it's funny because Bitcoin is people are like, oh well, it's all for the black market and blah blah blah. And it's like Bitcoin literally has a ledger system that
completely transparent.
You can transparent. Anyone who runs the blockchain has a copy of the blockchain, and if you're a smart enough programmer and you can read into all that stuff, you can get the accounting from all the transactions. It's not. I do have basic attention token. If you're on the Brave browser, you can actually earn basic attention token just from watching ads or just from having ads.
Yeah, I did that.
Yeah, dude, I've had the Brave browser on my computer for a year, and I've got like 200-300 I think BAT from it. Oh, more than that. I've got anyways more than that, and if BAT ever becomes worth, I don't know, $5, then that's gonna be a lot of money. But the fact that I can be watching YouTube, right, and somebody else can tip me using BAT because they like my content. So it's like, it's any content provider. If you have a page, if you're on Twitch, if you're on whatever, if they're using BAT and you have a BAT account, they can tip you. So it's like, the super chats on, or the tips on Twitch, or all these other platforms where people are allowed to, have the coin of their particular realm, which is usually the US dollar. But this way you can have it's like having a PayPal donate button, right?
Except you get to keep all the money.
Yeah.
And they don't take, and YouTube, for instance, doesn't take half your money.
Yeah. And that's why I like BAT. That's why I think BAT has a real big future, because Brave is a great browser too. And I think the more people use it, the more people get accustomed to tipping, because they can earn by watching ads or getting ads sent to them, and then they can take their earnings and they can tip other people. I mean, that's just a great system long term if people adopt it. And I know quite a few people who already use the Brave browser who didn't even know about the cryptocurrency part of it because it's such a great browser. So if you haven't already, everyone, please do get the Brave browser on your computer and then start tipping me. Some of the stuff I was before Binance was kicked out of America, or they weren't kicked out. They decided not to be Binance. Okay, Binance was at one point the largest exchange in the world because it had all of these different tokens, but they decided that the US was to be a separate market, so they shut down US servicing and created a wholly separate Binance USA website with a more.
I kind of got a conspiracy theory about that. I think.
Oh, do you?
They probably knew that regulations of some sort probably was coming, so they wanted to create, their own branch for America or something. I don't know. We'll find out in like a year or so.
Yeah. We shall see. But anyways, I loved buying stuff on Binance. Because or what I would like doing is I'd go to a smaller exchange like IDEX or DDAX or one of these other exchanges, and I'd buy like Holo token, right? Because if it was on a smaller exchange and then it got to Binance, it would always have that big bump. So I was playing, playing those things. But yeah, since all that crap with Binance, I just put it all in a Bitcoin and moved it all to Coinbase. But yeah,
and Coinbase only has like the same 12 coins or something.
Yeah, but Coinbase is FDIC insured.
Yeah, I mean it's if you're buying your basic coins here, Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, they got Bitcoin Cash. Definitely the safest place is Coinbase, and then eventually you might want to buy a ledger, and hold it yourself. But it's not the worst thing in the world to have your stuff on Coinbase.
No, yeah. What was I saying about Holo token? That was
you bought it off smaller exchanges and then sold it when they put it on Binance.
So what I was actually when I was looking for smaller tokens, the things I was focusing on were other actual blockchains, because you never know if it's a good blockchain. It's got like Zilliqa, right? Zilliqa has sharding technology, and it was the first out the gate with the sharding technology. So I was like, damn, I'm into this, because you can, if the sharding technology works out, dude, you could be running freaking massive MMOs on the blockchain, right? There's so much information that you can gather and process. But then I heard that Ethereum was going to start using sharding technology as well, and so it kind of becomes like, is it the one who created the technology, or is it the one who's already got such a head start that is implementing that technology? Because it's, you know, it
It's
is
kind of the one that has the head start, and I
right.
think also, what do you do with it? You know what I mean? I think the biggest thing is, what are you going to use this for utility that people can, you know, use in their everyday lives?
Well,
You know, and that
yeah, in the case of Zilliqa, ended up launching Unstoppable Domains, which, you know, I'm just going to play this because they'll explain it away a lot better than I can. So you can get your own domain at whatever, like Mike S. Miller .zil or .crypto, and this is how we implement in the future. So I'm just going to play this. I don't know if you've seen it.
What is a blockchain domain? A blockchain domain is like a .com or .org, except that the records are stored on a blockchain. Blockchain domains do two things that regular domains can't: simplify crypto payments and build uncensorable websites.
Uncensorable.
Blockchain domains replace cryptocurrency addresses with a human-readable name. Add your crypto addresses, your Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin.
And just real quick, I mean, think about an uncensorable YouTube, right? Like, if we can get to a point where people can stop freaking shutting us down because they disagree with our politics, I think that's why so many libertarians are into cryptocurrency, you know, because it's like getting away from all these, it's getting away from Big Brother, you know, it's like Google and Big Brother are like taking over our lives, and we need to get someplace safe in that technological world. And that's kind of where Unstoppable Domains is a good step in the right in that direction.
And any other cryptocurrency addresses all to one domain. Now someone just needs to type your domain into a wallet and send. No need to remember long addresses. The same domain can be used for websites. Traditional domains, also called DNS, are part of a centralized system controlled by ICANN, an international organization that maintains the records of who owns what domain. Blockchain domains are not part of the traditional domain system. They are what's called alternate roots. Domains are stored by you in your wallet, just like a cryptocurrency. No one can move them without the private key. Blockchain domains can also be used to build an uncensorable website. This works by pointing content from a decentralized storage network to your domain. Blockchain domains require browser plugins to resolve inside most standard browsers because they are new and not yet supported by the traditional system. Traditional website content is stored on centralized servers that are controlled by large companies. These companies can easily take down your site if they object to it or at the request of a government.
Yep.
Decentralized networks like IPFS store content that only you can put up and take down. Blockchain domains plus decentralized storage equals an internet that no company or government can censor. This technology has the power to spread free speech across the world. Find your blockchain domain today at www.unstoppabledomains.
So yeah, I think especially in places like Venezuela, places like China, places where free speech is at risk. Again, this is the future. We're awful comfortable. We were just having this conversation last night about how people are comfortable with Google being in control of, you know, all their information, all that stuff. And it's like, I'm not comfortable with that.
yeah, they literally know, like, when I have a flight and let me know on my phone.
Yeah.
Imagine the government's after you and they collude with the government to tell you where you are.
Yeah.
Does that sound fun?
Yeah, that's what's happening in China today. And so, and then you also have in China, you have censorship of information like nobody's business, right? They can shut you down, you know, and actually then come get you because they know what you're doing. They know if you're looking up stuff that's derogatory to their government, dude, you could end up in jail. Right, in a heartbeat. It's a brave new world, and I don't know. I think blockchain technology, all this stuff, it's for the good of the individual and freedom. And oh shoot, can you tell somebody go get JoJo? My son is here.
Oh, okay.
Well, get mommy then. Yeah. So, anyways, Bianca says Google created. Oh my gosh. Can you?
Google created what?
All right, she's going. She's going. Google created a map of my travels. Hey, here's an exact location map of where your phone is around the world. You have to turn it off manually. Yeah, and there are a couple companies. Pundi X is making a crypto blockchain phone, so you'll be able to probably have privacy unless you want to let Google have all your information, which a lot of people do, anyways. But a couple, and then
Well, and a lot of people. Here's something interesting. So a lot of people talk about gold,
mhm.
and just think about if you're traveling internationally. I do. You can't take more than like a few $1,000s with you anywhere. You can't transfer gold easily anywhere.
Right.
You can walk around with Bitcoin all around the world as much as you want. So, there's a lot more freedom in that than carrying around a big briefcase of American dollars. You can only take, I'm not sure about the laws. They're different in every country, on how much, but I think it's like 30,000 or something, maybe less than that.
Yeah, and
That's
you're
not
not.
freedom.
Yeah, you're not allowed to take more than $10,000 from one country to another without, obviously, without what do you call it? Telling
Some sort of.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know that much about it, but I know you can't.
Everybody, you want to pay your taxes, you want to be legal, all that stuff. But there's a lot of government intrusion that I don't want.
Well, and let's say you're going to buy an expensive piece of artwork in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
You can't take more than $10,000 to that country. Let's say it cost $1 million. You're buying a Picasso or something.
Mm-hmm.
You then have to have that transferred through the banks, which is going to take time. It's going to cost a lot of money.
Days to transfer that kind of money.
When you could use Bitcoin, you could use XRP, and it's going to cost you essentially like pennies to transfer that money, and it'll be there instantaneously.
That's right. If anyone has ever had to pay someone overseas, like I used to work with Nikos Koutsis in Greece, and when I had to pay him like I think I'd pay him like like $1,500, right? At a time, it would cost me like $60 to $80 to send $1,500. I sent my niece $2,000 in Litecoin, and it was I think like 14 cents or something. It was pennies, right?
Yeah, like you're like, oh well, I'm happy for that.
Yeah,
it really hit me when I transferred my XRP to, my ledger, and it cost me like less than a penny.
Right. Yeah, and that's the thing. That's for particular example, XRP is designed to be the banking cryptocurrency that allows people, the unbanked. And you look at Africa, 80 something percent of Africans are unbanked. They don't have banks, but almost all of them, I know it's weird to think about it because, people's ideas of what Africa is. Almost everybody in Africa has a freaking cell phone.
Yep.
You can have your bank be on your cell phone. It makes life not just easier, it makes spending money, getting money, trading money, buying things, being part of an economy possible for those people when they can't otherwise bank. Banking is freaking important. It is important. There's if you're running just the smallest kind of business where you have to get supplies, say you're a baker, right? And you have to get eggs, and you have to get flour, and you have to get sugar, and you have to go to suppliers to just bake your little thing in your little house. All of this requires banking to do it otherwise it's just a huge freaking difficulty and pain in the butt. It just is going to make people's lives easier if everybody can use that. And then plus, if you're paying someone in Zimbabwe, right? You're paying them like from America to Greece to Zimbabwe. If you're all using the same cryptocurrency as your transfer of value, right? I can buy $50 worth of XRP here for pennies, transfer it for pennies, and then convert it into Zimbabwe dinari or whatever they use in Zimbabwe for pennies. And so there's almost no loss of value. You're transferring wealth across the globe. It's such a useful tool. And didn't you just showed there's some regular talk what you sent me on the DM about the bill.
Oh yes,
XRP is a valid wealth transfer tool, whatever.
So there's a bill that's been presented. It hasn't been passed yet, I don't think. Basically, they're the American government's going to approve that the banks can use XRP for these remittance transfers, across borders. And the whole idea that you hear from the XRP community is that every country is going to have their own stable coin, basically. What a stable coin is it's tagged to what your currency is. So there's a bunch of American ones, but I'm sure Tether's the biggest one. You can see it on the screen there. But I'm sure the United States will make their own like federal stable coin.
At some point.
Yeah.
It's going to be run by the
at some point.
It's just going to be it's going to be a crypto dollar. That's all it's going to be.
Yeah. And then what's going to happen is XRP is going to be this quote unquote like intermittent middleman thing. Your American dollar will go into the system. The XRP will transfer it over to, like you said, Zimbabwe, and then it will change into the Zimbabwe digital whatever. And it's just like smooth seconds, sort of transition. And that's like really the infrastructure that has to really happen before we see like the real quote gains that you want.
It was I think last year MoneyGram adopted XRP, didn't they?
Yeah, and they've stated basically right now the only reason they're not using it any bigger is because they need the price to go up. So that's the big thing. And I think, I mean, I don't know anything, but I think that regulations are when we're really going to see like that sort of thing happen for XRP. Once there's set rules where banks go, okay, we can do this, but we can't do this. That's when they're going to be like, yeah, we'll start using this now.
Yeah. Someone in the chat asked how they can get XRP. You can get any of these. Just go to the link in the chat. I'm pasting in there. Go to Coinbase.com. Join up. You can buy as little or as much of any of these that you want. No financial advice here, but personally, I am. And hold on, let me see what's my portfolio. I am invested personally in Bitcoin, Chainlink, Basic Attention Token, Ethereum, and XRP. And
those are all pretty good.
I think I've given explanation.
I'm only in the top 3, but yeah.
Yeah, I think I explained each of those. I explained Ethereum. Ethereum is like
they basically want to create the internet, like a new internet, basically, like to put it in layman's terms.
Yeah, it's a marketplace for blockchain. Other people build their blockchain businesses on the Ethereum blockchain. They can create their own tokens on the Ethereum blockchain. So say you have your own business. Let's use an example of Roblox, right? Anybody play Roblox? If you have Roblox and you want to have, instead of just a vague digital currency that has no external value except within your game, but you would rather use an actual cryptocurrency that you can not only exchange on Roblox as the coin of that particular game or that particular realm, but you want to be able to exchange it on actual money exchanges, then you could build that as a token on the Ethereum blockchain. So again, the use cases for blockchain, for cryptocurrency, they're exponential. The more people think about it, the more ideas you can have, the more uses you can have, the more adoption there is, and the more people adopt it, the higher value of the whole. So when we're like right now, there's the market cap is $239 billion. I mean, that's a lot of money, but in the global market, that's really kind of just a drop in the bucket. If this
It's pretty small.
yeah, this gets up to $4, $5, $6 trillion, dude, it's just going to be absolute adoption at that point. It's just going to keep going. So
Yeah, just think about how when everyone's like, the way it's being explained to me is like roughly 1% of the population uses any cryptocurrency right now. So think about what the price is going to be when 5% of the population uses 10,
Right.
20, 30.
Yeah. Victor says, Mike, why does that link you shared have your name? I don't trust it. Because if you buy $100 worth of any cryptocurrency, then you not only I believe it's you get $10 worth of Bitcoin, and I get $10 worth of Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm. And the great thing about Coinbase too is they have these little videos, and you watch the little videos and you do what it says, answer some questions, I think, and you get whatever that currency they're trying to shill at you. You get like $1, $10 or something like that.
Yeah.
But
Pete Max, can I eventually buy a burger with cryptocurrency? Yeah.
There was a guy that bought a pizza with like 30,000 of them or something.
Amazon is building on the Ethereum blockchain. Walmart is using Bitcoin. I believe the Winklevoss twins have come up with a program that allows point of service. This is also why I got out of Pundy X. But it allows point of service machines to actually accept an Bitcoin, and I don't think you can pay out. They'll pay out in Bitcoin, but so that you can, use Bitcoin to buy food, your groceries, whatever.
Well, now will be huge, but like, I mean, the one thing, the biggest problem I have with Bitcoin is, just how slow it is. I mean,
but that's why Lightning Network is. I thought Lightning Network was fixing all that and making it faster.
I don't know. Well, I mean, we'll see. And the good thing about it is they always upgrade it. You can always upgrade it, make it better. And that's the goal.
Yeah. One concern somebody had about forking, thinking that was like doing a stock option split or something. It's not. When a cryptocurrency forks, it is as Phil was mentioning earlier. It's because like all of the nodes, all of the guys who like run the program, they all have to agree if there's a change to the code itself in how the Bitcoin ledger works, right? If they don't all agree, but some of them want to implement the change anyways, that creates a fork. It creates a totally separate coin. Now, everybody that was on that cryptocurrency previously, so like say you had realistic, say you had 10 Bitcoin, and then it forked into Bitcoin and then Bitcoin Cash, you would have 10 Bitcoin and you'd have 10 Bitcoin Cash. But Bitcoin Cash doesn't automatically start with any intrinsic value, right? Now, people might like say, oh, this is a fork and I like the programming. I like the new change. I'm going to actually invest in that. It's investment. So that's when people put their money into that. They start buying it. The law of supply and demand kicks in and the value goes up. So it's not that it's the same thing. It's not.
Mhm.
It
The
doesn't
only the only problem
devalue.
I really have with Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin SV is the name makes it kind of confusing.
Yeah, that's just marketing.
That
That's why
yeah,
everybody hates Roger Ver.
and so I really don't want to have anything to do with them because it's like you're it's like you got Coke, so you move over here and you're going to make your own soda company. You're going to call it Coke, but with a K
Yeah,
instead of
right. Yeah, well, it's like Dr. Pepper and like there's another soda that sounds just like Dr. Pepper. I can't remember what it was called, but it's like you're not fooling anybody here. So, anyways, anybody got any questions about Bitcoin? Otherwise, we're gonna start winding this down. I thought this
Yeah.
was Mr. Pibb. Mr. Pibb doesn't sound like Dr. Pepper though. There's another Dr. Soda. I remember. It might be just a local thing. I don't know. Dr. Pecker.
Dr. Pecker.
Mike,
I mean, I think the thing I would say, and this isn't investment advice. If you got $20 to lose, sign up for Coinbase and throw $20 into XRP. Let it, and then forget about it for 10 years.
yeah. Actually, that's what Roger Ver used to do. That they used to call him Bitcoin Jesus because he was proselytizing Bitcoin. He would go around and just give people Bitcoin, and like if some of them would probably just ignore it, and then now they probably lost it, and but some of them like you get it. I've done this. I've given my friends Litecoin or Ripple or not Ripple, Ethereum or whatever, just so that they can like watch it, and like they start watching it and they get like all interested in it, and then they want to invest in more of their own stuff. But yeah, just throw a little bit in there and see if you like it. Learn about it though. Learn about it. It's the future. It is the .com thing. What about Facebook currency? I think that's dead.
Libra, no. There's what they're doing is, and I think this was all. These people always they say something, and the initial is to get a reaction, and then they scale it back. It's all marketing. So they're doing stable coins for the Euro, America, and maybe China. I don't know. But it's going to be like stable coins. And they essentially, these tech companies like Facebook, which you should be very afraid of, they want to become the biggest bank because they'll essentially I don't know how many people are subscribed to Facebook, but it's in the billions. They'll be the biggest bank with the most members then.
Yeah, that's dirty. Stay away from that. Ever Todd asks, how do I tie my Coinbase to the wallet app? The wallet app? I don't have a wallet app. I have a Ledger, and I have my Coinbase account, and I have like my Ether wallet? I have an Ether wallet, but I don't have an answer for you, Ever Todd. You're gonna have to do some Googling. Oh, I hate that I said that. Those companies will issue their own currency, which actually I'm not entirely opposed to. It's just like I was saying with Roblox, right? Roblox has its own money, and people literally trade stuff for value and then trade in and out of it with US dollars. And that's nothing new. There have been, video games, not as long as there have been video games, but there have been video games all over the place that have had their own currencies, and people buy in and out. Second Life was the same way. People actually set up
Diablo 2, I remember, was like that.
Yeah.
Like there was a market of this was like early eBay where you would exchange items, with actual money.
Right, but now imagine instead of having to go in and out of your let's just say Roblox currency, instead of having to go in and out of your Roblox currency into cash, you could actually use that Roblox currency on an exchange, and actually buy other things in the real world without ever even having to go into fiat to buy it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And that's what I think, the whole tokenizing everything,
right, right.
just everybody having their own, like, whatever, is a good thing, because the competition will decide, what everybody uses.
That's right. And if it all has its own sort of equivalent market, where people can understand the value of it against another cryptocurrency or against fiat or against whatever, then yeah, it's I don't know. I think it's freedom, man. It's freedom. I'm not tied down to the USD. Tokenizing everything is dumb, but I mean, it doesn't have to be everything.
Well, from what I've heard, like, everything is there's like this idea that everything is going to be tokenized. So like you'll have a painting, and essentially it makes everything easier because it's on the internet where the information is on the blockchain, and you don't have to worry about, this paper trail that is slow.
All right. If I want to trade a piece of art for, plumbing services or whatever, I don't need to. There's a way to get around having to actually use dollars and you're exchanging value for value, but you're not going in and out of the U.S. market system, the U.S. dollar system. E. Michael says, think countries with high inflation will start using crypto. Venezuela would be a good example. Well, people in Venezuela have been using a Bitcoin as a store of value, and those in Venezuela who are probably the happiest people in Venezuela right now.
Argentina as well. Yeah. XRP's working with, they're really working on like the Philippines and Mexico, because these people, they're the countries that have the most people without banking, and they're moving on to Africa right now. And the idea is, just get these people, inserted into the system of easy transactions, because the whole idea is people that have it the hardest or the most willing to change, to try to change their life. People like in middle America will be like, oh, like you were explaining earlier about, taking your stock options and just paying down your house.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're living the good life. You feel everything's easy, so you don't see no reason to take a risk or change or anything like that.
All right. Well, dude, we're at an hour and a half, so I do have work to do today. Phil, any last thoughts or anything you want to give to the people?
Just remember that if it's not your keys, it's not your crypto. So.
All right. And thank you everyone for being here. I do want to say thanks to Phil Cummings for showing up. Capn Cummings. It's been a long time. If you want more of this content, maybe I can have Phil back. Just leave something in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, all that stuff. Link to my Indiegogo is in the description. Lone Star, Heart of the Hero, and Soul of the Soldier available on the same campaign. So once again, Phil, thanks for being here.
Oh, no problem. It was a blast.
Yeah, it was really fun. And we'll see everybody later. Where's my thing? Peace out.
I'd buy that for $1.